Hurricane Milton, a storm that would soon etch its name in the annals of history, began its life inconspicuously, a mere tropical disturbance off the coast of Africa. It was an unremarkable beginning, one that mirrored countless other disturbances that form in the same region every year. Fueled by the warm waters of the Atlantic Ocean, it gradually gained strength, drawing energy from the ocean's surface. The disturbance began to organize, its winds intensifying and its structure becoming more defined. Its winds whipping into a frenzy as it charted a westward course, the storm's potential became increasingly evident. The once humble disturbance was now on a path of transformation. Meteorologists, their eyes glued to satellite imagery, watched with growing concern as the storm, christened Milton, transformed from a humble tropical depression into a formidable hurricane. They knew that the conditions were ripe for further intensification. The National Hurricane Center, tasked with the crucial responsibility of tracking and forecasting hurricane activity, issued its first advisories, alerting coastal communities to the potential danger lurking on the horizon. These advisories were the first of many as the storm's path and intensity continued to evolve. Coastal communities well-versed in the rituals of storm preparation began to take action. People boarded up their homes, stocked up on supplies, and made plans to evacuate if necessary. The atmosphere was one of cautious anticipation. Milton's initial path remained uncertain, a fickle giant with the potential to unleash its fury on a number of unsuspecting locations. Meteorologists ran countless models, each one offering a different potential trajectory for the storm. As days turned into hours, the storm's trajectory became clearer, its sights set on a collision course with the southeastern United States. The models began to converge, painting a more definitive picture of where Milton would make landfall. Its sights set on a collision course with the southeastern United States, the storm's approach was relentless. Communities along the coast braced for impact, knowing that the time to prepare was running out. The specter of Hurricane Helene, a recent and devastating storm that had left a trail of destruction in its wake, loomed large in the minds of those in Milton's path. Helene had been a stark reminder of the power of nature, and the scars it left were still fresh. Helene, a stark reminder of nature's raw power, served as a chilling prelude to the potential devastation that Milton could unleash. The memories of Helene's wrath were a sobering reminder of what could lie ahead. Coastal residents, their memories of Helene still fresh, braced themselves for another encounter with the unyielding forces of nature. They knew that preparation could mean the difference between life and death. The air crackled with anticipation as Hurricane Milton, a storm rapidly gaining notoriety, churned closer. Its presence felt long before its arrival. The skies darkened, and the winds began to pick up, signaling the storm's imminent approach. Its presence felt long before its arrival. The storm's power was undeniable. Waves crashed violently against the shore, and the winds howled with an intensity that sent shivers down the spines of those in its path. The stage was set for a meteorological showdown, a clash between man and nature as the southeastern United States prepared for the onslaught of a hurricane that threatened to rewrite history. Meteorologists worked around the clock, providing updates and refining their forecasts. As the southeastern United States prepared for the onslaught of a hurricane that threatened to rewrite history, emergency services mobilized, ready to respond to whatever challenges lay ahead. The community's resilience and preparedness would soon be put to the ultimate test. Hurricane Milton's transformation from a formidable storm into a meteorological monster was nothing short of breathtaking, a testament to the awe-inspiring and terrifying power of nature. The sheer magnitude of its growth left even seasoned meteorologists in a state of disbelief. In a display of rapid intensification rarely witnessed, Milton's power grew exponentially, surging through the hurricane categories with unprecedented speed, its winds howling with increasing ferocity as it drew energy from the warm, inviting waters of the Gulf of Mexico. The ocean's surface, heated by the relentless summer sun, provided the perfect fuel for Milton's explosive growth. Meteorologists, accustomed to the gradual intensification of most hurricanes, watched in astonishment as Milton defied expectations, its wind speed skyrocketing at an alarming rate. The data pouring in from weather stations and satellites painted a picture of a storm that was not just growing, but evolving into something far more dangerous. Its wind speed skyrocketing at an alarming rate. Instruments designed to measure wind speed struggled to keep up with the ferocity of Milton's gusts. The storm, initially categorized as a Category 1 hurricane, a force to be reckoned with but not unheard of, underwent a dramatic metamorphosis, its intensity exploding in a matter of hours. What started as a relatively mild storm quickly escalated into a full-blown hurricane, catching many off guard. A force to be reckoned with but not unheard of, underwent a dramatic metamorphosis, its intensity exploding in a matter of hours. The rapid escalation was a stark reminder of nature's unpredictability and the thin line between calm and chaos. Its intensity exploding in a matter of hours. The storm's eye, once a small and relatively calm center, expanded and became more defined, signaling the immense power it now wielded. Within the span of a single day, Hurricane Milton had morphed into a Category 5 monster, the highest classification on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, a scale that serves as a stark reminder of the destructive potential of these storms. The transformation was so rapid that it left little time for preparation, amplifying the potential for devastation. The highest classification on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, a scale that serves as a stark reminder of the destructive potential of these storms. The scale, which ranges from Category 1 to Category 5, is designed to help predict the potential damage and flooding a hurricane can cause, a scale that serves as a stark reminder of the destructive potential of these storms. Milton's winds, now a raging tempest capable of leveling buildings and tossing cars like toys, reached an astonishing 175 miles per hour, a force of nature rarely encountered in recorded history. Milton's winds, now a raging tempest capable of leveling buildings and tossing cars like toys, reached an astonishing 175 miles per hour, a force of nature rarely encountered in recorded history. The sheer power of these winds was enough to uproot trees, shatter windows, and cause widespread destruction. Reached an astonishing 175 miles per hour, a force of nature rarely encountered in recorded history. The anemometers, devices used to measure wind speed, recorded readings that were off the charts, further emphasizing the storm's unprecedented strength. A force of nature rarely encountered in recorded history. The storm's rapid intensification, a phenomenon that sent shockwaves through the meteorological community, was attributed to a combination of favorable atmospheric conditions, including low wind shear and unusually warm ocean temperatures. These conditions created a perfect storm, allowing Milton to draw vast amounts of energy from the ocean. The storm's rapid intensification, a phenomenon that sent shockwaves through the meteorological community, was attributed to a combination of favorable atmospheric conditions, including low wind shear and unusually warm ocean temperatures. These factors, acting in concert, created a perfect breeding ground for Milton, allowing it to draw vast amounts of energy from the ocean, fueling its explosive growth and transforming it into a force of nature capable of unleashing unimaginable destruction. Was attributed to a combination of favorable atmospheric conditions, including low wind shear and unusually warm ocean temperatures. The low wind shear allowed the storm to maintain its structure, while the warm waters provided the energy needed for rapid intensification, including low wind shear and unusually warm ocean temperatures. These factors, acting in concert, created a perfect breeding ground for Milton, allowing it to draw vast amounts of energy from the ocean, fueling its explosive growth and transforming it into a force of nature capable of unleashing unimaginable destruction. These factors, acting in concert, created a perfect breeding ground for Milton, allowing it to draw vast amounts of energy from the ocean, fueling its explosive growth and transforming it into a force of nature capable of unleashing unimaginable destruction. The warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico acted as a vast reservoir of energy, feeding the storm and allowing it to grow at an unprecedented rate, allowing it to draw vast amounts of energy from the ocean, fueling its explosive growth and transforming it into a force of nature capable of unleashing unimaginable destruction. The energy transfer from the warm ocean waters to the storm was a critical factor in its rapid intensification, turning Milton into one of the most powerful hurricanes ever recorded, fueling its explosive growth and transforming it into a force of nature capable of unleashing unimaginable destruction. The destructive power of Hurricane Milton was a sobering reminder of the raw and unpredictable power of nature, capable of reshaping landscapes and altering lives in an instant. Satellite imagery, a technological marvel that has revolutionized our understanding of weather patterns, provided a sobering glimpse into the heart of Hurricane Milton, revealing a storm of unprecedented power and fury. The images, beamed back from space by orbiting satellites, painted a vivid picture of a meteorological behemoth, its swirling clouds spanning hundreds of miles, a testament to its vast size and destructive potential. At the center of this swirling vortex lay Milton's Eye, a deceptively calm region of low pressure that belied the storm's true ferocity. The Eye, a circular void surrounded by towering walls of thunderstorms, was clearly visible in the satellite imagery, a chilling reminder of the immense forces at play within the hurricane. Meteorologists analyzing the satellite data marveled at the storm's well-defined eye, a characteristic often associated with particularly intense hurricanes. The eye's size, relatively small compared to the vast expanse of the storm itself, was another indicator of Milton's power, suggesting a tightly wound system with extremely low central pressure, a recipe for catastrophic wind speeds. The satellite imagery also revealed the storm's well-defined outflow, a system of high-altitude winds that spiraled outward from the hurricane's center, acting like a chimney and venting the storm's heat and energy into the atmosphere. A strong and well-defined outflow, as exhibited by Milton, is crucial for maintaining a hurricane's intensity, allowing it to continue drawing energy from the ocean and fueling its destructive winds. Florida braces for impact, projected path, and potential devastation. As Hurricane Milton churned its way across the Gulf of Mexico, all eyes turned to Florida, the Sunshine State, now squarely in the path of this meteorological monster. The storm, a swirling mass of wind and water, had already left a trail of destruction in its wake, and Florida's residents were acutely aware of the potential for disaster. The National Hurricane Center, its warnings growing increasingly dire, projected a landfall along the state's western coast, a densely populated region home to millions. Meteorologists worked around the clock, analyzing data and updating forecasts, their faces etched with concern as they tracked the storm's every move. The storm's projected path, a line drawn with a mix of certainty and trepidation, cut through the heart of Florida's Gulf Coast, raising the specter of widespread devastation. Communities along this path, from small towns to bustling cities, were all in the crosshairs of Hurricane Milton's fury. Coastal communities, many still bearing the scars of past hurricanes, braced themselves for the worst, their residents facing the daunting task of preparing for a storm of unprecedented magnitude. Families gathered supplies, boarded up windows, and made plans to evacuate if necessary, their minds filled with memories of previous storms and the hope that this one would somehow spare them. The potential for catastrophic damage was high. News reports and weather updates painted a grim picture, with experts warning of the severe consequences that could follow in Milton's wake. The combination of high winds, storm surge, and heavy rainfall created a perfect storm scenario that could lead to widespread destruction. Milton's Category 5 winds, capable of ripping roofs off buildings and snapping trees like twigs, threatened to reshape the landscape. The sheer power of these winds was enough to turn everyday objects into deadly projectiles, adding another layer of danger to an already perilous situation. Storm surge, a wall of water pushed ashore by the hurricane's powerful winds, posed a deadly threat to low-lying coastal areas, with projections suggesting a surge of up to 15 feet in some locations. This surge, combined with high tides, could lead to severe flooding, submerging homes, roads, and entire neighborhoods underwater. Inland areas, while spared the full brunt of the storm surge, faced the threat of torrential rainfall, with projections suggesting upwards of 10 inches of rain in some locations. This relentless downpour could lead to flash flooding, turning streets into rivers and making travel nearly impossible. Such intense rainfall, falling on already saturated ground, raised the risk of widespread flooding, inundating homes, businesses, and critical infrastructure. Emergency services prepared for the worst, readying boats and high-water vehicles for potential rescues, knowing that every second could mean the difference between life and death. Florida, a state accustomed to the fury of hurricanes, found itself facing a storm of unprecedented power, a test of its resilience, and a stark reminder of the destructive forces that nature can unleash. As residents evacuated or hunkered down, the sense of community and determination was palpable, a testament to the human spirit in the face of nature's wrath. The coming hours and days would reveal the true extent of Hurricane Milton's impact, but one thing was certain: Florida would face this challenge with courage and resolve. Yucatan Peninsula on high alert. Milton's outer bands threaten. While Florida remained the primary target of Hurricane Milton's fury, the Yucatan Peninsula, a region jutting out into the Gulf of Mexico, found itself in the storm's crosshairs, vulnerable to the devastating effects of its outer bands. Though spared a direct hit, the Yucatan braced for a glancing blow from the meteorological giant, a reminder that even a hurricane's periphery can pack a powerful punch. Milton's outer bands, swirling tentacles of wind and rain extending hundreds of miles from the storm's core, lashed the Yucatan Peninsula with tropical storm force winds, downing trees, ripping roofs off buildings, and knocking out power to thousands. Heavy rainfall, a hallmark of hurricanes, inundated low-lying areas, turning streets into rivers and forcing residents to seek higher ground. Coastal communities, particularly vulnerable to the combined effects of wind, rain, and storm surge, faced the brunt of the storm's fury. Waves, whipped into a frenzy by Milton's powerful winds, crashed ashore with relentless force, eroding beaches, inundating coastal roads, and damaging waterfront properties. The Yucatan Peninsula, a popular tourist destination known for its pristine beaches and ancient Mayan ruins, found its idyllic scenery transformed into a scene of chaos and destruction as Hurricane Milton's outer bands left their mark. The storm, a stark reminder of nature's raw power, served as a wake-up call, underscoring the importance of preparedness and the far-reaching impacts of these meteorological behemoths.